Premier has pulled the trigger on tough new COVID restrictions as WA prepares to bring down its border to tourists. Seated service will be back, the mask mandate extended and crowds capped in a move that could cripple some businesses.
Perth Airport's preparing for the hard border to come down in 3 days, but the number of rules and restrictions for West Australians goes up and up, despite extremely high vaccination rates.
If we want a set of measures to be effective, they need to come in sooner rather than later.
From 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, school children Year 3 and beyond joined the mask-wearing mandates. Venues like pubs and nightclubs can only have 150 people in them under a 2 square metre rule.
For many venues, it may well mean that they can't viably open. For others, it will mean substantial restrictions and a downturn in business to the point that they will be laying off staff.
Stadiums, theatres and cinemas are capped at 50%, meaning a big financial loss for the first AFL games at Optus this season. Crown's gaming floor must comply with the 4 square metre rule, and an outdoor event will be restricted to 500 people. A private outdoor event capped at 50. Only 10 people inside a home.
By using the 150 patron cap instead of the 4 square metre rule, we spare smaller, lower risk venues such as cafes and restaurants from the impacts, while at the same time slowing the surge in cases.
The 150 person cap, it's almost impossible to run this business.
It's hoped level 2 restrictions will only last 4 weeks, with WA expected to hit an Omicron peak in mid-March. Overnight, we reached 1,136 new local cases. There were 476 positive rapid antigen tests self-reported. 11 people are in hospital. Our active case total is 5,540.
So was it always envisaged that level 2 restrictions would come into play around this time?
Yes, it was.
But as recently as last week, neither the Chief Health Officer nor the Premier were clear on that. At least the border reopening is locked in, Perth Airport going high-tech as the countdown to touchdown begins. Flights from Singapore and Dubai the first to arrive when the hard border finally goes. About 15,000 travellers expected to walk the terminals on Freedom Day, still a far cry from what the airport is used to.
In all honesty, it's going to take a number of years before we see our passenger numbers get back to what they were pre-COVID, which was in the order of 15 to 16 million passengers per annum.
COVID-safe technology allowing for faster and easier check-ins.
But there is protective screens on the equipment behind me that if you do touch it, it does have a special protective coating on it that actually kills COVID.
It does seem at odds to have the most successful double and triple vaccination rates in the world, as the Premier keeps telling us, while at the same time we'll have the toughest restrictions on the planet too. And all the added rules will come when we finally drop the border to welcome in tourists. Michael, that's the WA version of living with COVID, I guess.